giving you an opportunity to get the full story from the people who tell it best. This is Mediacom News Leaders.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mediacom News Leaders. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Carol Kelly. Joining us today from the Waterloo Regional Airport, we've got Keith Kaspari. Keith, welcome.
Thank you, and good to be with you and your viewers.
Absolutely. So we survived an Iowa winter. Can you talk to us a little bit about just the winter season, how that was on the airport, probably many trying to get away to warmer temperatures?
Without question, we had a very difficult winter season, especially after January 1st. Our numbers suffered significantly due to the extreme cold weather, the canceled flights. Thankfully, March came along, and buoyed by some spring break travelers, our numbers saw a nice jump. So we're hoping now that as we trend out of May, that we'll have a good summer travel season for the months of June, July, and August.
Can you talk to us about that, how you do prepare for the spring, the summer travels? That probably is a very booming time of year.
Well, it is a busy time of year, certainly not just for passenger travel. It can be, but again, the winter season really did not do us many favors. So now that we're entering into the summer travel season, we're hopeful for a good response by our Northeast Iowa passengers for both business and leisure travel, again for the months of June, July, and August.
Talk to us about, one of the experiences that you have representing the Waterloo Regional Airport as well as other aviation organizations. Tell us, you go to Washington, D.C. Talk to us about those travels.
Well, we recently came back. I was one of a number of probably 20 plus folks that came back from Washington, D.C. as a member of the annual Cedar Valley Coalition group. And we talked to Senators Grassley and Ernst and our 1st District Representative Abby Finkenauer about a number of priorities for the Cedar Valley Coalition. For me specifically, it was transportation and airport industry improvements that we would certainly like to see for the betterment and the future development of Waterloo Regional Airport.
Can you talk to us too about just the airports that are serving you, or I'm sorry, the airlines that are serving Waterloo currently?
Well, certainly. We've got twice daily service on average. Today, only one trip a day on Saturday to Chicago O'Hare International Airport on American Airlines. And so we're thankful that we have a major carrier, a legacy airline, for both connectivity throughout the domestic of the U.S. and international travel as well. So we're thankful that that we have that kind of connectivity for Cedar Valley area passengers. But part of the trip to D.C. also was to visit with some of the folks I've known at the U.S. Department of Transportation's Office of Aviation Analysis. And now that we're in 2019, it looks like later this summer, around the August-September timeframe, the U.S. Department of Transportation will seek new bids for air carriers serving Waterloo to begin a new 2-year term on or about May 1st of 2020. So we're expecting that American Airlines is going to want to continue to serve Waterloo, but we also think that they're going to get some competition because I believe United is keenly interested in serving Waterloo, again, for a 2-year term beginning May 1st of next year. So we'll look to see what happens. Again, both American and or United would also serve Chicago O'Hare, Chicago being United's home city. So we're hopeful that we'll get a good bid from both of those folks, and then we'll see what the U.S. Department of Transportation decides who's going to be the best carrier moving forward to serve the travel needs of Waterloo area citizens.
And can you talk to us a little bit too about how the Waterloo Airport specifically is set apart from other airlines in the area?
Well, certainly we've got the 2 trips a day, but we don't have the connectivity and the daily number of seats that the larger airports such as the Eastern Iowa Airport in Cedar Rapids has, which is unfortunately only about an hour and 15 minutes away. But also to our state capital, Des Moines, is only about 2.5 hours away. And they serve, those 2 communities combined serve for about 95% of all Iowa's traffic. So we're trying to make some inroads to see additional passenger growth from Waterloo. And so hopefully we'll make that happen over the coming years.
What are some issues that you've been having? We hear the air traffic control tower. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you're working with that?
Well, certainly. This is an initiative that started with the FAA in 2016, and here we are 3 years later, and it looks like there is a consolidation realignment concept that has been advocated by the Federal Aviation Administration. And that would consolidate or realign our radar services from Waterloo's tower to the tower at Des Moines International Airport. Our of course, preference would be to retain the radar services from Waterloo. And so if that consolidation does occur, my understanding it could be, if it does go through, it could be a 2, a 3, or maybe a 4-year transition process. But now the window for public comment expired last Friday, and now it's up to Congress to see what they want to do, whether they want to force the consolidation and realignment, or if they want to hold back and allow Waterloo's tower to remain as is with the upgraded equipment that has been installed over the last, I would say, 2.5 years.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the process and some of the things, the trips to DC and some of the what you advocate then for the community of Waterloo?
Well, certainly from the airport perspective, we're always looking for increased levels of development funding through the Federal Aviation Administration's Airport Improvement Program. Unfortunately, over the last handful of years, development funding through the Airport Improvement Program has remained static. And the needs of the nation's airport community, you could probably take the amount of $3.315 billion and multiply it by 4 to 5. And that's just a start in getting us and the airport community throughout the United States to where it needs to be to compete head for head for passenger travel for other, I'll say, larger airports throughout the globe. The Middle Eastern airports are expanding and modernizing their airports. European airports are doing the same. However, it's been unfortunate that the federal government has restricted the amount of funding available for the U.S. community of airports, and this is via Congress. This is not the Federal Aviation Administration as an agency. This is Congress's decision to limit and restrict the amount of funding that has been allocated to the FAA for many, many years. And so it continues to push back further additional improvements to the airport community at the airports around the country as more passengers are flying from the nation's airports.
Can you talk to us a little bit about just centrally, Waterloo Regional Airport? What are some of the, let's say, 3, 5, 10-year plan that you have for the airport?
Well, certainly we want to continue moving more passengers than we ever have in the past. And so we're working with an air service consultant to update our what's called true market study. And so that's going to give a snapshot of travel demands and city pairs for our passengers within a 14-county area of Northeast Iowa. And so they can look at the data and glean whether or not it's either American that's going to want to continue, because if American continues, we want additional service to Chicago, but we would really enjoy southbound direct service to Dallas, which is their home city. If it ends up being United Airlines, we're going to continue to have service to Chicago, which again is United's home city, but would love westbound direct service to Denver, which is a major hub for Denver out of the western third of the U.S. So combined, we would like to have the ability for Northeast Iowa travelers to have well over 1,000 potential connections or flights to choose from on a daily basis from either Chicago, Dallas on American, or Chicago, Denver on United.
Those not familiar with the airport, amenities, can you talk to us a little bit about the experience of traveling through the Waterloo Airport?
Well, I'd love to. I think we're going to be able to provide a smooth transition to get you into the National Air Transportation System. Right from the parking lot, which is only $6 a day, which is very convenient as far as a price point, to getting through security. And we've got, I think, the best security personnel in the business. But they're very conscientious about the job that they entail. So they're going to be very thorough, but it's a smoother transition and a short movement through the passenger security checkpoint. And also to the check-in folks at the ticket counter to get you booked on your travel, to get you through security then, and then on board the aircraft to your final destination.
Head to the website for a little bit more information and to book.
www.flyalo.com.
Wonderful. Always a pleasure, Keith. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Carol.
This has been Mediacom News Leaders, your opportunity to get the full story from the most reliable sources, exclusively on Mediacom News Leaders.